Yo, what is up, guys? It is Karasmai, the rank 1 Kayn North America, and I'm here to show you all the do's and don'ts of Kayn, all the things that I think you're doing wrong with him. So first things first, we'll start with the pathing, because I feel like a lot of people, they do mess up the pathing. And we're actually just going to skip 10 minutes into the game because, well, that'll make it easier to get the form, because if you don't know, first things first, the more time goes on, the more orbs you get. So post 8 minutes is really the main ramp up of when you get more orbs. So every individual orb has value, and as time goes on, it ups in value. I think it peaks at like 12 to 14 minutes, and then it starts going a little bit back down. But I think one of the main things I want to show you guys is clearing. So usually, when you start red, you can just auto queue normally. But I always mention queuing into the wall. A lot of people, they don't queue into the wall. So you want to drag the red as close as you can to it. And notice how I'm in the center of it. And you can hear and also see damage. Both has to go off. It's a dash and a strike. So if only one goes off, you're making a really big mistake. But if, you know, both are going off, it's very good. And then with the Krugs, a lot of people, they like to auto queue, which I think is usually smart. But for Krugs, it's the only camp where you immediately queue, because if you farm this camp and you immediately queue, your Q will be up the same time that your E is up. And I find that to be very, very useful. So make sure that you're autoing both of the baby Krug same time. Very important. So notice that my Q and my E is pretty well synced, right? And I can just Q and then E towards the next camp immediately. And yada yada yada. I'm sure a lot of you've probably seen how to, you know, do the full clear. You probably understand a good amount about it. So it's not just going to be a clearing video. I'd also like to cover, you know, the queuing on the wall is a very important tactic, but just keep in mind it can go wrong, because look, if it's not in the center of it, you can see only one Q hit there, so that's very important. I think one of the main things is I've been coaching a lot, so I notice a lot of people, the way that they team fight is Kayn. Red Kayn specifically is very wrong in a lot of their combos, so we're going to get form a lot faster than normal here. Normally it would take a lot more orbs because it's 12 minutes in. We already get form. So I'd like to cover probably one of my most favorite things about the game is the you know, upgrading format of found. So a lot of people, they always wonder, why do you upgrade format of found? Why do you do that? Is there any significance to it? A lot of people, they think I just do it because it's a funny meme or something. Well, actually the reason is because notice as I upgrade my form here, I get home guards, right? So you get home guards, and then, you know, you're approaching out of the enemy jungle, right? And just in this time span, it's a lot more you could do with the mobility. You can travel a lot faster through your jungle. You look how much distance I was able to travel successfully with home guards. As opposed to if I would have wasted the duration from here to here, that would have cut off the amount. It would have made me go about like right over here. Would have wasted a good amount of time. So that's pretty much why I do that. But one of the main things I wanted to point out is I notice a lot of people, whenever they're playing Red Kayn, they typically team fight incorrectly. So they'll team fight and then they'll ult like this, full HP. But Red Kayn is a champion that needs to stay in a fight for a long time. So typically, the proper way to ult would actually be to stack up your Conqueror, have it fully stacked, and whenever you're low HP, kind of like how a Tryndamere would, whenever you're low HP, you know, then you would look to ult. But, I mean, usually you'd have your Conqueror fully stacked, I put it right there. And you'll see that your Conqueror fully stacked does a lot more. So, that's how much it did there. 1180, 292. Because of that, a lot more. And it heals you a lot more as well, because, you know, that's how Conqueror works. So I think that's one of the most important things, is knowing how to ult. I typically wouldn't use ult unless someone was trying to flash away and get away. I would usually wait till they're about wait till I'm about below 20% HP. I think that's a very important thing. Also, another thing I noticed, a lot of people don't typically like to farm 2 camps at the same time. So for Kayn, I find it to be very easy, you know, just farm 2 camps at the same time. And, you know, you just farm blue Gromp. Pretty easy. And you can also farm red and raptors at the same time too. That's pretty easily done. I think it requires you being in the sweet spot, which is like right here. If you're right here, you can take the aggro of both raptors and red. But I think it's a lot easier done with blue Kayn as with red Kayn. Minions are about to end this, so I gotta make this quick. Another thing a lot of people don't know is the E. So notice I put a spawn dummy in there, right? Notice my E. My E tells me that someone's in there, right? So let's say we put a spawn dummy over there. And then right there, you see that. See that? You can see them in there, and you can see there's a dummy in. A lot of people don't know that your E actually will tell you if someone is in the bush, even if it's not warded. that is very, very useful as a Kayn main to understand. And I think the last thing I'll cover is just the forms in general and how to path with them. If you're playing Red Kayn, you should always path to gank the melee champions. So typically when you're playing Red Kayn, you path to gank usually top and mid, because top mid jungle is where melee champions usually reside. Sometimes in bot lane, very rarely. But typically if you're playing for Blue Kayn, you path to gank bot and you path to get your blue orbs. You always path to get those certain orbs. Now, the kind of a paradox between Kayn is that when you're pathing top, you're pathing for the Rift, and Blue Kayn actually does better with the Rift. So it's kind of backwards. And Red Kayn does a lot better with the Dragon, because the Dragon is the long scaling objective. And for the Rift, it's the snowballing objective. So it's kind of awkward to, camp a certain lane and then swap the tempo into the opposite side. So I think if you guys can master that, it would definitely make you a way, way, way better Kayn player. And one of the main things I did want to point out about Blue Kayn and Red Kayn, I feel like a lot of people, they seem to have a lot of things confused with that department. And typically the way that you would want to play Red Kayn and Blue Kayn is Red Kayn is the champion that looks for team fights. So the way that you're playing the map, it should be very linear. It should be, the jungle, the mid lane, the river. That's it. And when you're playing Blue Kayn, you're looking the side lanes, the jungle. That's it. Because you're looking for picks. Rarely ever group and team fight with Blue Kayn unless you're absurdly ahead. Then you can force fights and you can go kind of crazy. Normally you want to poke with Blue Kayn. I think since I'm not playing Blue Kayn, I can't show it, but typically, being able to E and wall and then W and then Q away, because as you're Blue Kayn, you can W and move at the same time. So I think being able to poke like that is very important. And also understand what their passives do. So Red Kayn's passive, every ability heals them for, a percent amount of physical damage dealt to champions. This is where healing really plays a major role. So with a Blue Kayn, it's for as much physical damage you have, you can do bonus magic damage on top of it, so it kind of helps if they're stacking a lot of armor. That's why it's good to get a lot of levels and XP on Kayn, so your passive does a lot more. And this is why I always find farming to be one of the most effective methods. Either way, hope you boys enjoyed the video and learned some things that you didn't know about Kayn. Peace.